Okay. And action. Hello everybody and welcome to Sonic Talk number 259, recording today, Wednesday the 14th of March. I suppose we could say this is the post-iPad show, as it was announced in between our, I think it was announced the day of our last podcast. So anyway, but that's beside the point. I want to welcome all my guests. We've got a nice full chat room as well. So let's start with Rich Hilton, who is over. He's just back, fresh from... that's the other one. Is fresh an accurate example, an accurate description of how you're feeling? Fresh back from Australia, where he's been, he's been a disco king for some time. I know they like disco music in Australia because they made that film, didn't they? Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. How was it, Rich? Did you have a good time?
So, I had a great time. Unbelievable time. Yeah, so much fun. Great shows. Saw a lot of friends, old and new. Made some new ones. Got to go see the 30th anniversary Fairlight and play around with it.
Wow, cool.
Thanks to our good friend Rob Puricelli, our failed muso friend, who hooked me up while I was there. Got to visit with some of my famous and less famous friends who I didn't expect to see when I was there, and so that was all very wonderful. Saw 3 different cities I'd never been to before. Got taken out of town and treated like a family member by people I had just only met. And it was great.
Oh, fantastic. So how long were you there for altogether?
2 weeks.
Wow, so that's quite a long trip. Long enough to really feel the jet lag both ends, basically.
I have no idea which end is up, and I hardly slept last night.
Oh,
but
man.
I'll sleep as needed. I don't have any particular demands on me right now.
Oh, well, that's good.
I have to have dinner on the table tonight very early because the kids both have a rehearsal. So that's my biggest problem right now.
Well, welcome back, and I'm glad you made it. You made it with us. I'm very pleased to see you. Well, we've also got with us another. It's another special occasion, really, because today is somebody's birthday, as far as I understand. And that little chuckle there was Mr. Gaz Williams, songsurgeon.co.uk, resident Welsh producer and based in Bristol, and also the co-host of the Sonic Touch, a music show about iPads and touch devices, which we posted episode 9 on Friday, and it's gone down very well. That was a good episode. So, how are you, Gaz? Are you feeling? Has life just begun for you? How are you feeling today?
It is 40 for me now today. So that's. Yeah, I'm quite excited, really. Things are going well. So the job that I'm just doing, which I am now able to talk about, is this. I'm playing bass in a rock opera in Paris, and that's going to be fantastic. But that's taking up all my time now from now until June. That's going to be it's like a kind of modern interpretation of an old Monteverdi opera. But the top lines are all kind of the as written, but the accompaniment is all kind of very contemporary. But I think it'll be of great interest to a lot of the listeners because there's loads of great sounds being used, lots of Fairlight sounds, lots of Hammond Nova chord samples are being used. Unfortunately, not a real Nova chord, but
I tried to that.
Yeah. What else? Lots of G4 software plugins, which I'm pleased to say. The virtual string machine and the Mtron. And the Mini Monster.
So how's it working live? You're involved in the tech setup as well. You're not just playing bass. So you're going to be on stage playing bass. Are you going to tech it at the same time?
Yes. Well, no. Yes and no. I'm going to tech it initially to get the. I'm going to be converting the project across. It's been kind of scored in Cubase, and we've got to take the. We've got to make live rigs. Out. We're going to use main stage for that.
Right.
So it's going to be kind of setting up the machines to do that. There's going to be 4 keyboards on stage, 2 V drum kit setups. And there's like about 45 pieces of music, so there's lots and lots and lots of music, and there's lots and lots of patch changing, and I'm going to be sort of basically setting up that system. Interestingly, yesterday I met up with the guy who is been assigned the job, really, although I'm actually I'm like the kind of foot soldier doing it there, but the guy is Jean-Michel Jarre's right-hand man, so that's really nice to be working with him. He actually said that Jean-Michel is a big fan of GeForce synths. I was really pleased to hear. So I thought, I don't know if you know that, Dave.
No, not at all.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Sonic Talk then for a minute.
Yeah,
I'm really disappointed. I'm happy for you, Dave, obviously, but frankly, you get everybody loves your stuff.
I showed him some of the stuff on the iPad, and he was going, "Oh, Jean-Michel is a big fan of the iPad, but he's going to love this stuff." So I introduced him to our show, the Sonic Touch Show.
Woo!
So he's going to show that to Jean-Michel. So I was really chuffed. So that's cool. But it's quite a complicated job.
I can imagine.
It's also kind of making sure that it all runs really stable, and going to kind of be, going to have to crash. It's going to work. Going to crash test it a lot, trying to get it working. But then it's going to be good. Once we actually, we're going to be rehearsing in London for a month or so, and then we're going to move over to France for about 6 weeks, and then that's when the performances begin. So hopefully, by the time we get to Paris, the I'm going to actually pass over the technical side over, and then just be a musician, which I'm really looking forward to that stage.
You definitely want that. I mean, production rehearsals are kind of mad enough without actually having to worry about the technology as well as your parts, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the opera, the company who's staging it is the Théâtre du Châtelet, they're called, and they're based in it's the Théâtre du Châtelet, which is in Paris. It's a very, very prestigious opera house there. They're very kind of they're kind of nervous about this production because it's very, very different for them to do, because there's some kind of punk singers and opera singers. It's a real mishmash of musical styles. And there's a singer called Carl Barrett, who's a British singer who's in a band called the Libertines. He's going to be one of the lead. Well, he's actually the male lead, and he's singing opposite like a traditional opera singer. So it's kind of very, it's a kind of a lot of.
It's going to be interesting.
And then Mark Almond is another of the singers, and I've heard some of the Mark Almond songs, and he sounds fantastic in it, actually. I have to say, he does actually sound brilliant. So that's going to be really interesting working with him.
Oh, well, hopefully you'll be able to catch up with us once in a while and let us know what the sort of tech stuff is, because I'd be really interested to know how this sort of bringing everything together. It's a big project. How many players are there altogether?
There's 6 players. So there's 2 keyboard players, both with 2 keyboards each, but then the drummers are both playing electronic drum kits, some of which, well, I think we've managed to convince them now to sort of just use V drums, and I think we're going to get like a sample pad thing as well for triggering samples. All of that stuff was originally going to come off the main stage thing, but many people have advised us against that. So I think now we're going to kind of get those onto hardware devices. So it's just about trying to configure these machines to be as efficient as possible, and trying to get them to be really stable, obviously, and just get because all the patch changing is going to be done sort of by somebody actually under the stage. I'm calling him the little troll. He's going to be doing, I don't know who he's going to be doing that, so I hope he's not too offended. But so that side of things, I've got to try and make it as kind of easy as possible. So, there's so many cues, and those cues have to be bang, and all those things have to change. And those patch changes are going to go to the front of house as well, which are going to change kind of...
scenes and what have you. Wow.
Yeah,
exciting stuff. Well, guys, congratulations on that. I'm really we'll definitely look forward to hearing a bit more about that, and but sadly less of you on a day-to-day basis, because I'm sure you're going to be busy enough as it is. But thank you very much for sharing. I'm looking forward to more sharing. And we should also say hello to Mr. Dave Spiers from GeForceSoftware.com, who is there he is. How are you doing there, Dave? Is it your birthday today, or have you come back from anything exciting happening to you, or should we just skip over it?
Yeah, skip over it. Skip over it. Go back to Gaz. I'm more interested in that.
No, it's going to
Happy
be
birthday,
really.
Gaz.
That's going to be.
We should go. Why don't we have a jolly out in France?
Oh, that would be
come.
marvelous. Yeah, I like the sound of that.
I need tickets. tickets. I'll be like a tout outside.
Yeah.
Or
I'd
the
love
troll
to.
under the stage. I was used to that many years ago. Used that trip trapping over my stage.
I expect it would be Gaz in his giant sort of goatee boots. Probably with huge thigh-length glam rocking kind of. I hope you're going to be wearing that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things we are. We're not in the pit. We're on stage. They wanted us to be like kind of rocking on stage. Pete Howard, who's the musical director, he's also going to be playing drums, and he was in the Clash. He was the last drummer of the Clash. So they want us to kind of have this kind of, they want us to be kind of really rocking on stage. So that's going to be fun. Sorry.
Good. No, absolutely fantastic. Well, shall we take a look at the first topic, because this one's kind of fun. So, I want to say also hello to Tony, who's come in and switching in the studio today. Thank you very much, Tony. And also, there's if you look there quickly, there's the the Moog Minotaur, which I'm just finishing up the review from, just in case you're interested. Button.
Hey, Nick.
Yes.
Should I be seeing you?
No, we're not sending video because it just puts a massive amount of extra stream. I'll treat you a bit later on. Okay.
Very good.
Alla ta det lugnt! En, två, tre, fyra!
Arnebring, jag har ett larm nere från stan.
Det ska finnas en metronom här inne. Hitta den.
Så ska ni veta att vissa saker är olag, men det kommer bli ett fantastiskt verk.
Oh, this is my favourite bit. It's very tasteless. This is them jamming in a, in a surgery. Okay, right, we cut that. So yeah, that was the interesting. It's called The Sound of Noise. I mean, we have seen it already. Actually, I thought it was something new because it just showed up on YouTube. But actually, it's from a 2010 film, which was made. There was in fact a group. They are called The Sound of Noise, and they were the ones. I don't know if anyone remembers. We did something on the ages ago where they broke into somebody's apartment, played a load of music, and then disappeared. And this is that group, and they made a film in 2010. And you can get it. I did actually join Netflix to see if I could download it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Haven't checked iTunes, but it looks like the sort of film I would definitely like to watch. That's described as a musical comedy thriller with police officer Amadeus Wernbring was born into a musical family with a long history of famous musicians. Ironically, he hates music, and his life is thrown into chaos when crazy musicians decide to perform a musical apocalypse using the city as their orchestra. Awesome, eh? If you go to Web 1, Tony, then this is them in the IMDb. It's got all the various bits and bobs, but unfortunately, it doesn't tell you where you can get it. Sadly, so Gaz, I noticed you were enjoying that and chuckling along there. Is that something? Has anyone actually seen this? First to start with.
No, I didn't even know about it. I loved that one when they break into the flat, though. I thought it was so brilliant. So the fact that they've done a full movie, it's just amazing. But that was, I'm just looking up now. It was 2010. I thought it would, so maybe is it just got a release or something, or have we just missed it? Release date May 2010. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hold on, sorry. Somebody was in the chat room saying that there's been a bit of an issue with the the lag of the video, but I've just restarted that. Yeah, it's not on iTunes either, according to according to Failed Muso in the chat room. Hello there, Failed Muso, Rob in there. It looks like a great thing. Rich, I may even say. I bet you this is the sort of thing that would probably have been great on the something to watch on the fly, eh? Would you have enjoyed that, or would it have just been a bit annoying?
I did not find the trailer encouraging. Wondered how it was going to do, not knowing it had previously been released and viewing it as though it were a new product this morning as I prepared for the show. I thought, there's something about this that doesn't look right. I wonder how it'll do. And now I get to find out.
Well, I have...
Because it's already done, or rather,
it's
not
already done. I couldn't find
or
it anywhere.
Not done.
But Tony very kindly brought me in something that means I might be able to watch it later. But I'll say no more about that, so I'll let you know. But yeah, I think that one of the comments in the IMDb webpage says basically, yeah, it wasn't very good. It's just a showcase. It's just a showcase for the musicians who've done. There's several set pieces on that, but I don't know. It's kind of fun. Dave, do you remember Do you remember when we did the original one of this? The actual when they broke into the flat. I'm pretty sure you were probably on the show for that.
I don't know. Yeah, vaguely. I got a vague recollection. Some of this looked very, very funny. I loved the bit, especially when he says, "Why don't you musicians ever shut up?"
And their drummers as well, which kind of really does make it all make sense. Yeah, directed by Ola Simonsson, Johannes Stjarmin Nielsen, and some other names that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce there. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Has there been any other musical themed comedy thriller that you could think of? I don't think I can. Think of any.
Not comedy thriller.
Or just any musical. I'm sure there's a musical one, wasn't there?
Chris linked. I sent this through to Chris earlier, and he linked through to, and I think it's called Last Days Here, and that looks pretty entertaining. Not necessarily a comedy, but well, slightly. And it's like that, the story of Anvil and all those kind of things look sort of very similar. This band, I think they were called Pentagon or Pentang or Pentagon or something like that. Looked pretty good. Looked very interesting.
Rob GS in the chat room says, looked like a viral for Propellerhead software. That's actually...
Well, it kind of did,
didn't it? Good shout, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the other? Scandinavian Spinal Tap. I'm not sure if it's the same. It has the same rock kind of, maybe sort of Scandinavian Stomp, something like that. Rob, Failed Music in the chat room has put the link in there. You can buy it via a some kind of Amazon importer. Anyway, kind of fun.
We could get it for Rich for his birthday.
Yeah, or maybe Gaz. Maybe Gaz, you'd like it for your birthday.
I'd love it. I'd love it, yes, please.
I'll see if I can send you a copy.
Buy me two. I'll throw them both away.
Right. Well, anyway, good fun. The Sound of Noise been out since 2010, which I only realised after I was researching the topic. It's not a new film at all, so that kind of went a bit wrong in terms of breaking news. But hey, what the heck? Let's see. Well, I suppose we could say a word or two from our sponsors, because it's that we've got a couple of other interesting topics to come on, and but we've been hearing some interesting segments from the lives of our participants. So I think what we'll do is, if Tony would like to hit the button, I will say thank you very much to our sponsors. This is Yamaha. What you're seeing here, if you're watching the video stream, which I heartily recommend that you do, is the Yamaha O1V96i, and this is Yamaha's compact digital mixing console. For those of you who are aware of the show, we use Yamaha digital console for the production of the show, in fact, and we use the DM1000, which is a slightly larger format. But the O1V96i has a lot of internal DSP. It's got VCM effects, a full suite, master strip, channel strip, vintage compressor, stomp effects, and RevX reverb, 16 in, 16 out, USB 2 audio stream, high quality mic amps. In fact, these are the same ones that are on the new Steinberg interfaces that I know PJ for one has been very impressed with. So well worth checking out from a sound point of view. 40 mixed channels, 32 mono, 4 stereo, 16 analog and 8 digital inputs, 8 ADAT outs, 24-bit 96K, 8 auxiliary, 8 buses, 100mm motorized faders, up to 4 effects simultaneously, Steinberg Cubase AI included, DAW, control surface support, all sorts of possibilities there. In fact, what we would like you to do, what Yamaha would like you to do, is go and check one out and try in one of the larger retailers, certainly in the Pulse stores in the UK, they're sort of stores within stores, and any of your larger dealers in in the US or anywhere around the world should have them in stock, and well worth checking out. In fact, they've also got an additional slot, which I didn't mention, which means that as well as the A.IO, you can add any of the other YGDAI expansion slot. So you could have like AudioNet or CobraNet, or those kind of things, the audio networking cards, or you could have AES or SPDIF, all sorts of ways of doing it. Anyway, once again, we thank Yamaha for the continued sponsor of the show. Check out bit.ly URL, which is bit.ly/01V96i, and that'll take you right to the product page, and check it out. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, thanks. So what's next here? Let's have a look. This next one was the... I actually would quite like to have a look at the Claude Woodward Sonic Manipulator next. I think I'm going to jump straight to that because that just looks like fun. Which is not that one, it's just this one.
Greetings. This is Claude Woodward here, aka the Sonic Manipulator.
Lordy.
But today, I'm in serious mode. I've just invented what I think is going to be the future of synthesizer controllers. Behold, the Claude controller. This particular instrument consists of 3 sections. We have the keyboard with the fantastic vibe bar, an invention that I've had for many years and would not play a keyboard without. The Claude controller itself, which is an array of 36 wheels and 2 joysticks, which you manipulate with your left hand, and these all send controller information to a synthesizer, and a pedal board, which has 2 continuous pedals and 4 switches for manipulating things with your feet. Okay, I think we'll
cut there. Now, I agreed. He does come across as a bit of a sort of slightly eccentric chap. I mean, the Sonic, what's his name? The Sonic Manipulator, playing to the single lady, sort of little old lady there, was quite amusing. But what I really enjoyed with this was the idea of the 3-part. There were 3 parts to it. The thing that I enjoyed the most actually was the vibe bar at the bottom of the keyboard. What a brilliant idea! The way that you play your notes and then you rest your palm and you can use that for modulation and pitch bend, and it just seemed like a really brilliant invention. And then obviously the other part, which was the, I think it's 36 pitch wheels, which looks kind of crazy, but I quite like the idea of normalizing the idea of normalizing a bunch of synth controls so that it will apply to sort of any piece of software. And I thought that was actually quite smart, although it, you know, it's obviously got a slight tinge of madness to it just because of the character that he is, but actually some fairly sound principles and some good stuff in there. I know, Rich, I heard you laughing away there. Was there any of this that sort of rang true with you? Did you get a chance to check it out? I mean, imagine in your addled kind of jet-lagged state, it may have come across like a sort of bad dream, possibly, but maybe I'm making an assumption.
No, it's not so much that it was a bad dream. It's just that it was really on the edge eccentric. And it's presented as though this is a product design of his. And in as much as it still has no faceplate, no labeling, no nothing, and he's got like super glued little plastic diamonds to mark where on the wheels your positioning is, and you can't ever really see where anything is without actually touching it and changing it.
Well, shall we just call it early prototype stage then, perhaps?
Well, but that's fine, and I admire the spirit that leads one to want to design one's own controllers to be expressive, and he does play that bar thing in front of his keyboard somewhat expressively. I mean, it works for him, and I admire that. So I wasn't scoffing at the idea or even at his, to be generous, half-baked execution, although it's just, it works for him, and it's cool.
But I thought the vibe bar was actually really cool. I mean, he said that's been around for, you know, he's been using that for quite some time, or years, in fact. And I thought that was actually a really quite a useful function. I mean, you could presumably that's got some kind of MIDI mapping that you can map to various things, and that actually looked pretty cool, actually. I know, Gaz, was that something that that you could get off on? I like the vibe bar, and I like the idea of the other aspect of the controller. What did you think?
Yeah, well, I'm really into controllers, so anything like that. But what was funny though was I thought, oh, it's him, because I've seen him playing live in the Green Man Festival, just in this real kind of remote part of the festival, sort of like around midnight. There he is in his kind of neon spacesuit doing this like weird music, and he's kind of got like a kind of weird like theremin kind of controller that he uses, where and he has all this kind of weird music going on, but it's kind of comically bad in a way as well, the music, and you sort of can't quite work out if he's serious or not. But it's great for that night in the festival. There's all kind of everyone quite mashed, just stumbling around the festival, and you just find this guy in a little corner somewhere just doing this crazy performance. And we just stopped and watched him for a while, and we were having a right laugh. And then he took his helmet off and started talking to these girls, and we all thought, "Ah!" and ran away. To be fair, I mean, he'd made all this stuff himself, all the controllers that he was using. He's got it all attached to him in his spacesuit, and he's kind of, he's manipulating the sounds, pulling on his levers, and I think I like him though. I think it's funny.
Yeah, Claude Woodward, aka the Sonic Manipulator. I'm still kind of, I'm still putting it out there that the vibe bar and something along the lines of a generic controller, which will allow you to map, so, I mean, it was impossible to see. You couldn't, you'd need to have made it to know where everything was. But imagine that it had been sort of subjected to some industrial design principles and, et cetera, et cetera. And so, therefore, because this has been one of those problems that we've always had, which is like, how do you control any bit of software with any particular controller? And Dave, I mean, you went to the well, not Dave, but Kent Spong went to the all the effort of actually creating a dedicated hardware controller for the software, which is absolutely fantastic. But that is also absolutely impractical for a lot of other. If you want to reuse it a lot, if you want to use it for all sorts of things. And I like the idea of this being a kind of generic controller. I mean, do you think there's any mileage in that, or am I just kind of paddling?
Generic controllers?
Well, but generic, no, I don't mean generic controller, but a generic synthesizer controller, rather than this sort of concept of 8 knobs and 8 faders and a transport control.
Yeah, I mean, that struck me as slightly. I mean, I love the eccentricity of it all, and and in fact, I really quite like that vibe bar. But how annoying does pitch bend get after a while?
Yeah, pretty annoying.
You can definitely OD on the pitch bend, but I would recommend that everybody goes to his website, the sonicmanipulator.com, and just at least sit through the video called Radio Radiation. It's utterly brilliant. It looks like a kind of really old GeoCities site, circa sort of 91 or something like that. But yeah, brilliant. I love this kind of eccentricity.
Actually, that was the thing about the vibe bar. The fact that it was allowed you to pitch bend in very small degrees meant that you had a variable vibrato, which I think was the key point. So it's much more. You're still using the keyboard, but you're able to actually. Rather than, I think he makes the point, rather than just put the mod wheel and it's always going because that's the speed of the LFO, you can actually manipulate it much more real time and make it, so I guess more Eigenharp than mod wheel, I suppose, if you like.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking, it would be really...
calls it the wine bar. Quite like that.
That's very good. I mean, I was kind of thinking, it would be neat to do a little retrofit on the front of the keyboard. I dare say some company somewhere has probably stumbled across it and is trying to work out how to make it for $4.95 or something like that. I don't know. It's good. It was good, and I like it. I mean, if it works for him, then even if it only works for him, he built it. It's his prerogative. I'd like that whole kind of slightly mad professor vibe, but I did like his video more.
Oh yeah, if we go to the web, actually, there is a shot of his. Oh look, he's got like oscillating heading. Look at that. Manipulator is sort of wobbling. This is his website. It sounds like he actually kind of has quite a laugh live, and it obviously creates his character. And the fact that he's wearing he's smart, because the fact he's wearing a space helmet means that if he can't show up to the gig, somebody else can do it. The Sonic Manipulator. There it goes, all sort of wobbling there. Anyway, well, I enjoyed that, and I think there's some good key points in there, and I think that perhaps it might offer something special in the future.
And it's the future, yeah.
It is the future now. In fact, actually, that reminded me... although, Dave, you said you didn't have anything to announce, I seem to recall that we have a winner for the the Reason Songwriting Challenge, which we had Rob Puricelli, the aka Failed Musician, on the site. If you just go to the web a second, we've got the song challenges. Challenge number 1, Vast the results. This was using Tom Pritchard sound design Vast refill. And I think you bunged a couple of prizes in there. And you were the judge this week. And I think maybe I'm going to be a judge at some point. And I wanted to, let's have a look. There is actually a winner here. The winner was the Quixotes, to which Dave added Too Catchy to Ignore. I'm just going to play a little bit of that. Okay, I won't play too much of that because it's probably going to get me into all sorts of publishing trouble. So this was using a single wave, a single refill, right? Was that the idea, Dave, or was there other stuff going on there?
Yeah. It was this Vast refill thing. It was really interesting, actually, from my perspective, because I kind of initially thought, oh, there'll be 2 or 3 that stand out and the rest will be dirge. And actually, they were all really quite good in their own right. And it was so diverse. It was you'll find it very hard to judge because you kind of, when you're kind of going, oh, that's really cool in its own right, and that's really neat in its own right, and that's a good song, and I just like this track. When I was up at Martin Rushant's, weirdly enough, in the 80s, there was Steve Nye. Do you remember him, the producer?
Yes, Steve Nye, Japan, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he was producing a band called Scary Thieves at the time, who were tipped for humongous things. And I believe, and this could be rumour, I believe that the only reason they didn't go on to huge things is that the singer decided it would be a good idea to sleep with the record company exec's wife. And it just reminded me of that, and I thought they were a great band. And it just really reminded me of that, and it had that kind of whole 80s vibe.
Very, very 80s. I mean, that's the one thing, I suppose, I mean, you'd imagine that because it's a sound refill that has a specific flavour to it, that things would have a certain kind of similarity, I suppose. But not the case.
No, not at all, and that's what I found really fascinating. It was good fun. It was really good, and thanks to Rob for the opportunity to do that. I think you'll have it will be as hard. I'm sure it will be.
I'm not sure when I'm slated to do it, but Messe coming up, then a holiday, so it might have to be a little bit later. If we just go back to the website and show you, this is on the failedmuso.com website. There we go, failedmuso.com, and you should be able to see it all up there. And if you want to find out more about that stuff, if you go to the Propellerhead forums, there's a little dedicated topic there where I think you can. It's all announced, and the packs get downloaded and what have you. So there we go. Thank you very much, and thanks to Rob, and thanks to everybody for who submitted. And I'm looking forward to having a go myself. Right, what is next? Let's have a look. And this Android-based, this Android-based synth tablet could be quite interesting. This is oh yeah, here we go. There's the video. Okay, you want to stop that a sec? It seems to be a rather poorly 3D modelled thing just stuck on a load of photographs at the moment. So there doesn't seem to be an awful lot to it. But if we go to the web page, there's a few more nicer sort of looking renders. Miselu, it's called Neiro. It's a portable, net-enabled social music device with a musical keyboard, wide touchscreen display, touch display, and a variety of musical. It's Android-based, and it's going to have the Yamaha audio engine series of chips on it, which I think is Sound Chip NX1. So it's quite an interesting idea. I mean, I'm all for the fact that it's going to be an actual a dedicated musical device. I mean, that's a great thing, and it'd be nice to actually see it come to fruition. I have no idea how expensive it is. Does anyone remember the Yamaha CX5? It's got maybe maybe they're aiming for that sort of. The Yamaha CX5 was a music computer and sequencer system, wasn't it, that you plug your telly into, and you get DX cartridges. So I wonder if it's going to be along those sort of lines. I mean, it's hard to compete perhaps in this world when you could just stick all this stuff on a laptop and buy a very cheap I know, MIDI keyboard. I know, Gaz, would this be something that you kind of feel tempted to get, or I mean, iPad and a MIDI keyboard's probably going to do you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's intriguing, isn't it? I mean, it's quite interesting that it's got speakers built into it, and it's got the keyboard built into it, and it's sort of like a standalone little device. It was kind of making me think of a little bit like the OP1 in some respects, with the white look. I mean, it doesn't, it's not the same but just in that sort of, it's very small, isn't it? It's kind of, it looks like about smaller than a laptop. Intriguing little thing, though, I think.
Do you think, I wonder what they're going for. Do you think it's education or, I mean, utility? I mean, I can't sort of think where this fits in exactly.
I think that's what I was kind of mentioning, the OP1 in a way. I think it's sort of the people who like those small, niche little gadgety sort of things would really dig this, I reckon. But I was intrigued, though, because it's going to be running Android, if that's going to sort of raise the stakes of Android as a music making platform.
Well, perhaps. I mean, it'd be nice to actually get to try some other things. I mean, as you know, we've been looking for Android stuff to review on the Sonic Touch show, and the only thing I found looked really good, but it would only run on something that was running the latest version of Android. It was sadly not my phone or many other devices, so it didn't really kind of go. But it could be something that's cool. That's cool. I mean, maybe this is an area that that we should expect to happen. I mean, because in so many ways, we've got these kind of just generic devices, these computers that we plug any other stuff in, and the idea of having something that's dedicated to doing music, I mean, maybe that's a good idea. What do you think, Rich? 1 second. Oh, it's on the phone. Dave.
I don't really have an opinion on this. This doesn't exist, does it, really?
No, I think they announced it or did something. They went South by Southwest, which seems to be where you go to pitch your madcap ideas. And I'm guessing they're here. They must have been there doing that, and there was a bunch of pre-press, which is why it was picked up by the various blogs and sort of showed up in my inbox. In fact, Gaz, you were the one who who pointed me at this, and I thought, well, perhaps there's something in it. But actually, on sort of deeper digging, there doesn't seem to be anything at all apart from some mock-ups. So maybe it's got a little way to go.
Yeah, weird.
Didn't look like it had very good connectivity, though. It looked like it had just like mini jack on the side. I couldn't really see if there was like USB or MIDI on there, so I'm not sure.
Not real, Gaz. Doesn't exist, Gaz.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I think they did. They must have had some. They must have some prototypes made because they were. I think they were showing it in actually at South by Southwest. So perhaps it was there, but perhaps it wasn't.
Rich.
Hey, how's Rich doing? Is Rich available to join us? I can't see him. No, it's not yet. That's all right. Actually, well, while we're waiting, and we could actually think about the we've got Musik Messe next week. I can't believe it's suddenly come up. I am so completely underprepared. Apart from I've booked a flight and got somewhere to stay. I've got a few appointments, but I feel completely unprepared because it's been so quick after the heels of NAMM. I wonder whether anybody's heard any rumours, because we know we've got there's a few things going on. I mean, obviously there's the new Casio XWG1, which is the sort of sister product to the P1, which caused a major stir at NAMM. People seem to be kind of welcoming it with open arms, whereas other synthesizers, they don't. It was funny. The Casio must be smiling on from every possible angle, because I mean it's so easy to launch something like that and just be labelled as completely rubbish, whereas they seem to have not at all. So that's great. There's also, what else is there? We got the Earwave Magma, which is another bass synthesizer with a sequencer built in. Propeller Heads have got a big press conference, which they're having on the night before of the show. Which I'm hoping our flight doesn't get until 25 to 5, and the press conference is on the 6 o'clock. So I'm really hoping to be able to get in there and make it. I'm pretty sure I could. A fast car. I know, Dave, you were going to be coming along to that. Does that mean you can say anything about any of this, or you probably can't say anything about anything, really, can you, without fear of retribution?
Nope.
But outside of this, is there anything else you've heard of from Musik Messe that you or that you'd like us to check out that you haven't had a chance to see yourself?
Do you know, I was going to, well, as you well know, I was going to go, but then I suddenly realised that my passport had run out, and my wife had decided to renew the entire family's passport and didn't do any express thing. So I was like, do I book a ticket and sort out some accommodation, knowing full well that my passport probably won't arrive in time, or do I not? So I'm not. But I know of a couple of things that are going to be announced, and That's all I can say.
Right.
I'm very sorry. I wish I could say more.
No,
I
well,
really
I totally
do, because they are
understand.
very exciting.
I
and-
totally understand. Well, maybe you can tell me after the show, so I can go and make sure that we get a film of them before anybody else does, because I don't know of much, to be perfectly honest. I think I spoke to Yamaha. I haven't even got an appointment because Yamaha. I don't think Yamaha are releasing anything this particular show. They said no. We saw it before. It was kind of we saw it at NAMM. Korg. They have got something apparently. And we're going to go and see them. Roland have got something as well that they're very excited about, but can't tell us anything about it. So I don't know exactly what that might be. Gaz, have you heard any rumours?
No. I mean, Echo Sonic was saying that, reckoning that Ableton Live 9 may appear finally, and I'm wondering whether that will happen because, gosh, it's been a long time since they've kind of moved up a version. I mean, we've been on Live 8 for 4 years, is it?
Is it really? Good Lord.
It's something like that. Yeah, it's a long old time. So, with Bitwig in the wings, they were going to have to do something pretty quick.
Well, I did actually try and organise an appointment with Bitwig because I met them at NAMM and they were like really kind of excited and sort of fired up and sort of thrilled and they're not showing at Messe and they won't be demonstrating. So I think there's obviously a few select beta testers who are obviously feeling the love, but I have absolutely no idea what to expect from it. I mean, hopefully we're going to be meeting up with someone from Bitwig and just having a chat and seeing what it might be that's all about. But at present, there's nothing to see apart from what you can just see on YouTube. Live 9 would be great, says Tracy Evans in the chat room. Let's have a look. I don't know what else there is. Logic X will come out for Cougar.
Cougar.
That's a great idea for an operating system. I wonder if that's actually true.
Only for people over 40.
Yeah.
Gaz.
only people over 40. Only ladies over 40. Yeah. That's quite funny. But Roland, I'm not sure what Roland's sending. I know that they want to send us a JP80 to kind of that has some kind of relationship with what that's coming out. But that's all I know. I have absolutely no idea what that is.
It'll be an MC80.
Sorry?
It'll be an MC80.
What? I know. I think maybe it's the PG80.
Ah, okay.
I don't know. I mean, that's a guess, a complete guess. I hope I'm not right because they'll probably sue me. I think I signed an NDA. And of course, my partner is ringing me now. But apart from that, I won't be able to take that call because I'm doing a show, dear. But yeah, I don't know if is Rich back yet. You can see via Skype, can you?
Yep.
Ah, Rich. You're muted, but apart from that...
Yes, I'm back.
I forgot what we were just talking about Messe possibilities, but before that, I was going to ask you a little bit about what you thought about the what's it called? The Android-based synth tablet Neiro.
That looked very interesting to me.
Miselu.
I'd love to get my hands on one and see how it felt to use. Hello. Hello.
Hey, yeah. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. That's all I did. I just
sorry about that. It was sort of not an emergency, but now I handle that very quickly. Although my headphones fell out. Yeah, sorry, Rich, to cut you off like that. So, do you think there's any room for this kind of thing? I mean, the last thing I could think of that was like this. I mean, Gaz mentioned the OP1 and the Yamaha CX5 music system. But
it all looks like an ultimate VL tone to me, but I'd be interested to play with it and see if it was fun and it sounded good, sure. And the fact, I don't care if it's Android or what. I mean,
it doesn't matter what it is, but I mean, it'd be nice. I mean, it'd be nice if it was good, but I just don't know how much room
I want to
is.
play with one.
Yeah.
Get him to send one here. I'll play with it.
All right, well, we'll see what we can do, mate.
And interestingly or tangentially, the right end of the Fairlight 30th anniversary keyboard controller has an Android there.
Ah.
Where the keypad used to be.
Oh, interesting. Just an Android?
I believe so.
I wonder why that
I think
is.
that's what it was. I mean, it replaces the key control. They had a 10-digit key pad there before, and now it allows you to do certain other things as well.
Right. Oh, wow.
And I actually thought that they could expand it even further.
The thing that's actually quite funny is probably, it could actually, the original, the amount of power that you can get in an Android phone these days, maybe it's Android powered. Maybe the entire thing runs on...
I'm pretty sure it was Android OS.
What, the Fairlight? That would be bonkers. Well, we'll have to check that out, but that would be very interesting.
Unless I'm confused, unless I'm really jet-lagged and confused, that's the way I remember it.
I think somebody's saying I thought it was an iPhone or an iPod Touch. I remember.
No. They're not using an Apple product there. It's a Google thing.
Ah, okay. All right. Interesting. Interesting. And the other thing that we were talking about was this. Obviously Messe is coming up next. We're taking 3 people. We're doing the usual show thing. We're going to have lots of videos and do all our normal coverage. So I'm looking forward to that from that point of view. I mean, it's a very different show to NAMM, just purely because it's smaller and there's just a bit less manic. Although it's smaller in terms of importance, but it's probably bigger in terms of geography. It's a much larger site, so there's lots of walking around. Is there anything that you've heard of, Rich, that you think might be coming out? Have you got any rumours up your sleeves anywhere?
No, nobody talks to me.
That's not true. I talk to you.
No. I mean, no, those guys don't talk to me about what they're doing usually, unless it's Dave.
Yeah, in which case I just tell everybody.
No.
We should just make stuff up, shouldn't we? Like, let's say iLock are discontinuing USB interface. It's going to be FireWire 800 only. Let's do that. Let's put that out as a rumour.
The Thunderbolt iLock.
Yeah, Thunderbolt. That's a great idea. Thunderbolt iLock, and nothing else will work. Gaz, have you heard anything that you could tell us about that won't get us into any trouble?
No, sorry, totally in the dark.
Oh man, and we're so irrelevant these days, aren't we?
Yeah.
But may I cycle back one topic real briefly for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Talking about that eccentric fellow with his multiple wheels and pitch bars and all that stuff, and then we got off into a concept of, well, wouldn't it be nice if you could do that? Well, it seems to me you can. In 1,000 different ways, particularly once you get into the Ableton environment, but even everywhere else. And Novation tries to make it possible with that wacky auto map software that I just don't seem to get along with very well. And M Audio's trying to make it work with all of their software. And everybody pretty much allows you to customize what you described quite accurately as your 8 knobs, 8 faders, and 8 drum pads to match some combination of things in various pieces of software. So if you have the patience to sit there, assign controllers, and save presets, you can do a whole lot of what he's doing on some level with some kind of control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like we don't have a plethora of generic controllers right now.
I suppose what I was saying really was I'm kind of getting a bit tired of the 8 knobs, 8 faders, and 8 pads. I'd rather there was another generic template that people use, because to me that is wholly inappropriate for controlling most instruments. It's okay for kind of blocks of 8 faders, sure, but it's not really very useful for synthesizers and instruments.
Well, perhaps then, for example, the as much as it might be overkill for the task, the existing touch digital controller for IMP2 could be used to control almost anything else if you wanted to map its controls. If you wanted to create basically mapping overlays, that would take what it spits out and convert it to, whatever synth speak you wanted to convert it to.
Yeah. No, I totally get you there. I mean, I think I've mentioned before, I used to have, I've still got the Novation KS4, which has quite a lot of knobs and faders and envelopes on it, and I just used those sections and map them within Logic when you could do that controller mapping within Logic, which was very tedious because it was on a song-by-song basis. But it meant that the envelope matched an envelope and the envelope 2 matched the envelope 2. So it made sense. You could reach for the filter knob and it was always going to control the filter, assuming you'd taken the time to set it up. But that's the kind of same thing as what Automat was trying to avoid, wasn't it? It would just kind of generically know that it would work that way. And that's the whole purpose of the way that
until I pointed out that they had so woefully few templates that for me it wasn't terribly useful, and I just don't have the interest to sit there and create all of my own templates for my own devices. I guess some people do. And for those people, this is the perfect product. And their answer was, oh, but it's so easy to do. But you just touch this and you turn that and you do it like this and you stand on your head. And at the end of the day, you've got your template done. And it's just not something that particularly interests me. But as I look at the Ableton world and the people surrounding it, the ease of mapping parameters to control parameters in that software is just stunning. It's one of the greatest things about the software, and it's why you see so many people use it.
I mean, this is the difference is quite critical. Is that on a per song basis, or is that as an overall?
No,
thing?
You write an Ableton template that sends certain controllers on certain actions.
Yes, it's got there's a text mapping file, isn't there? That's right.
And you can map those inputs to whatever you want within that little. They have a little sort of a Chaos Pad grid on screen that you can map the X and Y axis from and to, and it really if you can create this pretty easily in what's there. And if you're limited by the number of controls, then you'd have to take something like Kent's and Richard's Touch Digital and Dave's Touch Digital device and create map overlays so that every single knob is controlling its appropriate function in every synthesizer you use.
Yeah, but again, it's that setup, isn't it? It's like,
well, is that any harder than buying his 32 unlabeled wheels?
I suppose not. All right, you've successfully uncovered the flaw in my argument there, even after 36 hours being uptime and transatlantic travel or trans-Pacific.
I can help myself.
But I've got a mini Moog tour. I've got a mini tour. Anyone want to know anything about that before we finish up? Because I'm going to have to finish up a little early because my daughter is off to. I've got to pick her up from gym. But I just finished the review of it, and it should be posted up quite soon. And it's quite nice. I mean, it's got that sound. It's the sound of the oscillators and are very Moogy. The filters kind of not the classic Moog sound. It doesn't have that sort of warm, distorted fuzz that you get in the same way. The filter sounds like the resonance is not part of the filter sweep. It's like a separate entity. I don't know how else I would describe it. It just doesn't feel quite as integrated. And obviously there's not an awful lot of synthesis functions. You can't oscillate a sync. There's no pulse width modulation. But it's, an affordable Moog. I mean, it's one of the cheapest ones you can buy, but it does have limitations. If you want a synthesis, then you should probably get a Slim Fatty because that'll do more. But if you want the sound of those really nice waves, I mean, it really does. You just go, ooh, that sounds nice. But that's sorry, Rich.
In that same size and form factor, Macbeth seems to be working on something that's more or less like, a mini Moog in a tiny box.
The Micromat. I must say, the stuff I've heard from Ken Macbeth, I mean, it's much more expensive. He's more like £1,000, but it sounds absolutely brilliant.
I was blown away with the vid he showed.
He's posted a few videos of just him. It's got 3 oscillators, and they've all got waves that equal that Moog. I mean, they just sound.
I think it's a sweepable wave shape, if I'm not mistaken, which is something I've been sort of talking up over the last year. I think so.
I know. I don't think they're cheap, but he's a boutique sort of bespoke synth maker. Effectively, he doesn't make it in the thousands. He makes hundreds of them, I guess. But that sounded gorgeous, and the flexibility just with the simple switching, that really looked. Yeah, I really want to get hold of one of those and try it out because what I heard just sounded really, really delicious. Frankly, yeah, it's not that. This Moog is not that, but it's less than half the price of what Ken is doing. So I'd kind of say, I like the fact that you can CV input and you can modulate from external sources and do that. That's kind of nifty. But it's not perhaps a first synthesizer because it doesn't do enough synthesis to my ears. But it's a really good sounding bottom end sort of bass instrument. There's no doubt about it. There. So now you don't need to watch the review really because that's pretty much it in a nutshell. But
I will still watch it.
It's a good. I think people. I'll tell you what, the people have been going crazy for it. I posted me opening a box. Right, I opened the box and didn't do much else, and it got 70 comments, most of which is them telling me I'm saying Moog wrong.
Yay.
So I'd like to say yes, I know, thank you. but I can't. I'm genetically predisposed to say Moog. I can't say Moog. It just doesn't come out right. Even when I was in the introduction of the video saying I'm not going to be able to say Moog, I was saying Moog wrong.
I've been thinking about this, Nick. I've been thinking the Moog doesn't make a Moog sound. It only makes a Moog sound, doesn't it? You can't make it go Moog. It's Moog. So it is Moog. Officially. There.
Okay. I'll stick with that. And as the birthday boy, I think you get the final word there. So I'm going to say thank you very much because I'm going to have to chip off now. And I want to say thanks to everybody for joining us. It's been a great fun show as usual. So Gaz Williams, 40 today and about to embark on a fantastic project. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that. Thank you very much for joining us, Gaz. I know you've probably got some serious drinking to do. I mean, what are you doing sitting in a darkened room with a pair of headphones on? The pubs are open.
I'm off to do a photo shoot now for another thing. So, yeah, so it's crazy. And then off to London, 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. I've been in London all week, just come back for today and then back again.
Well,
yeah.
Work. I hope you get to have some play too. So thanks very much for joining us, Gaz. And also, we've got Rich Hilton over there, who is, I must say, holding up incredibly well to his trials and tribulations of travel. And thank you very much for joining us, Rich. I know that you were with us an hour early, and you were out there as well, because I think you've had a time change in the US as well, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. But thank you very much. And I know you're probably really tired. So
I just have no idea what time it is anywhere in the world anymore.
Well, I can tell you that it's 2 minutes past 5 here in the UK. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for staying with us. So I hope you have a good restful evening tonight, and you get back into your usual routine as soon as you possibly can.
Thank you.
And Dave Spiers over there on the right-hand side, thank you also for joining us, g4software.com. And thanks for judging that competition so we could let the winners have a bit of an outing on the Sonic Talk podcast. And thanks to Rob for letting us know that it was up and there and ready. So I won't be seeing you at Musik Messe. And, well, I'll see you around soon. You'll have to come down and visit the new place and pick up your prophecy.
Yes, I will. We'll bring the... we'll bring a couple of things down for you to play with as well. Excellent. And yes, thank you very much, and happy birthday to Gaz. Enjoy the day. It's all downhill from here on.
Nonsense. 40 was when it all started getting good for me. So anyway, take care. That was Sonic Talk number 258, and that's it. It's a wrap.